Stranger Things is a pretty nasty show containing a ton of gooey prosthetics and farty boys that are smelly enough to evacuate a bus several times over. Ready to find out who the worst offender was? Number 1, we're kicking it off with something sticky. Actually, pretty much everything in this list consists of sticky things. That would have been a good alternate title for the show. Putting on gross, nasty prosthetics and seeing yourself in the mirror is one thing. Taking off gross, nasty prosthetics is a much stranger thing. But we've got to admit, playing around with prosthetic goo does look pretty satisfying. Slimy, yet satisfying, as Simba would say. Number 2, beards are gross in general. Go clean shaven, boys. Kidding. A nice beard can do wonders for the jawline. In the case of David Harbour, he had way more than just a beard, and it did the opposite for his jaw. He had to get suited up in a prosthetic that reflected the weight he was in season 3 for the flashback scene. So that means that neck isn't real. That's a fake beard with fake beard hair. Oh boy, that's a little strange. Downright uncomfy. Harbour can't stand prosthetics, but the process for this one was pretty painless thanks to an awesome team. Number 3. Oh dear, what direction could we possibly go with this? Turns out that lube has more than one purpose. It's great for maneuvering in prosthetics. Jamie Campbell Bower had the honor of slicking up for Vecna. The product isn't just great for prosthetics though. Did you know your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man had to use lube to get into his Spidey suit in No Way Home? Or at least Tom Holland did at any rate. Oh, to spend an entire day slimy just sounds like a nightmare. Number 4, and now for the most disgusting thing on this whole list. Kissing. Matt Duffer acknowledged that it was easy to forget how young Millie was sometimes because she's so incredibly gifted for her age. Well, her age would shine through sometimes, of course, like when it came to kissing Finn Wolfhard in season 1. There was a 2-month build-up to that scene for Millie, about just how disgusting and horrible it was going to be, and she questioned the whole time why the Duffers wrote it in. That definitely reminded them that she was only 11 years old, not the character. Well, that too. She survived, though. Number 5. Lego my ego, I'm gonna be sick. After being spun around and around and around in one scene in the void, poor Millie lost her Eggos. We can't say we blame her. That looks intense. In a post, she captioned it, "You spin me right round, baby, right round. Ah!" Threw up after this. This isn't the first time Millie's thrown up on set either. At least, so the Duffer brothers thought. She was pretty bold in season 1 to prank the creators.
Yeah. And we pretended that I was really sick and we put water in my mouth.
And then she started puking up the water. Classic. Number 6. A glossy finish that still manages to look just terrible. Dacre was covered head to toe in lip gloss to achieve that flayed look. Not just lip gloss though. Also dirt and mud. Not just lip gloss, dirt, and mud, but also an extra layer of lip gloss to seal it all together. Ugh, sounds like a party. Number 7. Millie's nosebleeds are pretty wild. So before the scene starts, she has to pour the fake blood up her nose. They immediately start filming and basically hope for the best as far as timing goes. Fun fact, that's the reason she tips her head down when she's using her powers. To get the goo moving. There are 2 kinds of fake blood. Well, probably a lot more, but 2 different categories of fake blood. There's the kind you wear, and the kind that goes inside your body. For Millie's nosebleeds, she was using corn syrup. Number 8. We're not done with the internal goo yet, though. The edible blood that is usually consumed via the mouth and not the nose has to be made safe for the actor. And, well, one thing you don't have to worry about when it comes to noses is taste. But the mouth is a whole other story. The edible blood tastes pretty freaking disgusting. But as Stranger Things progressed, their concoctions got a little tastier. It's just an added gesture from the makeup team to make the fake blood taste better. Among the options for flavor are Emergency and Jell-O. Number 9. While this might seem like a delectable treat to most, Noah Schnapp was having none of it. Along the lines of the bloods, there's sometimes a need for discoloration, and head of makeup Amy Forsyth wanted Will Byers to look ill, so they faded out the color on his tongue. You'd think green food coloring and frosting wouldn't be such a bad combination, but turns out Schnapp hates frosting. Hey, you can't please everyone. For all the torture Forsyth put Will through with frosting, he was given permission to enact his revenge, and got to spray Amy with a super soaker. Number 10. Caffeine is always the answer. David Harbour is coated in mud. Sorry, not mud, sticky espresso grounds that the makeup team stole right from the espresso maker in the trailer. And the recipe had to be exact. No substitutions. Coffee just isn't good enough. It has to be espresso. And Hopper was covered in mud a lot in season 2. While Harbour was a good sport about it, Amy said he was happy for the hot towel at the end of the day. Number 11. Sometimes it isn't the gross prosthetics. Sometimes it's the actors themselves being gross. Filming in a bus isn't normally a sign of alarm, unless one of the boys is so gassy the bus has to be evacuated. More than once. Poor Millie was furious with her stinky co-star. It's never been revealed who cut the cheddar, which is very kind of them to keep it under wraps, we guess. But this wasn't an isolated event. David Harbour admitted they would sometimes fart during takes. Yep. Kids. Little human beings with big important jobs farting during takes. I won't say which one. Number 12. Eating cold burgers and fries is definitely not as satisfying as eating cold pineapple pizza. Yes, way back in season 1, Millie was eating cold burgers and fries. A lot of cold burgers and fries. Like a lot. Like too much for an adult male to stomach, let alone a 10-year-old girl. We mean like at least 3 burgers in a single sitting. Poor Millie. They always encourage actors to eat healthy, and then they do this to them. Number 13. That feel when they get you when you're down. Poor Joe Keery had to film while sick. This was more common before the days of the dreaded pandemic. He was super stuffed up to begin with, but then to get the redness in his eyes, they blew menthol into them. Ouch. He was already a gooey, snotty mess before the staged beating came into it. He also had to have prosthetics applied to his face. He had a swollen jaw lump, a cut split lip, and a mix of cotton and dried blood. Here's hoping the appendages were sneeze resistant. Number 14. Eggos are actually just the worst when you eat them straight out of the box. We recommend a flamethrower. Whenever you see actors eating food in a movie, just know they were in for a miserable few hours, because one Eggo on screen is like 24 in front of the camera. We bet Millie will never look at Eggos the same way again. Number 15. Was this one more disgusting for the actors or for us? Definitely us. The leg you're looking at isn't even Millie's in this scene. It was totally just prosthetics, all decked out with different layers of yuck. Luckily, the moving Mind Flayer was added in post-production, and wasn't some creepy animatronic below the surface. Honestly, we couldn't stomach if it were any more real than it already is. While the disgusting blob of rat bodies that merged to become a monster would have made a great addition to this list, if you haven't already figured it out, only the animators were tortured with that job. What moment from Stranger Things grossed you out the most? Let us know in the comments, and thanks for braving all the disgusting stuff to hang out with us here at The Things.